Today on the Great White Shark Experience podcast, we are joined by Lacey and Val, both return guests of the podcast. Lacey and Val were both at the necropsy of the great white shark that was killed by orcas in Mossel Bay on the 18th of June. Lacey co-led the necropsy alongside Ralph Watson from Marine Dynamics, while Val live-streamed the event. Today we talk about the necropsy, recent appearances in documentaries, and the pros and cons of communicating shark science.
Well, welcome, Lacey and Val. Welcome to the Great White Shark Experience podcast again.
Cheers. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
How have you guys been?
Lekker.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Absence of sharks, but
Absence
still good.
of the big sharks.
The big sharks.
The little ones exist.
Little ones still
they
here.
Totally count.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But neither of you were here when the orcas came through.
No.
Which time?
Well, yeah. It's becoming quite a frequent, overly frequent occurrence now.
We leave for 3 days and all the
3 days.
action goes down. It's really
Stupid bloody Sundays.
You're telling me it was the
stings.
last week before I came back, and I missed it as well.
Wait, were you not here?
No, I was in Sardinia.
Yeah.
We all missed it.
Oh no.
Okay,
One of the
look,
most iconic moments in like natural history
You know
in
what?
Mossel Bay.
Here's the thing. We've also been there for some insane, iconic moments, and honestly,
Yeah.
I can't say I'm butthurt. I didn't see a white shark get
munched.
eaten
Yeah,
in front of
no.
my face.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's so sad as well. Like, not obviously, but throughout the years now have seen this happen over and over. And I know it's going to come. The bookings are going to go slower, so the white shark boat goes out less. The interns who are coming in for a month have the possibility of never laying eyes on a great white shark. And that's a tremendous weight to carry because you know part of the reason they're coming are to see those great white sharks.
And you also have the unique perspective of being in Mossel Bay long term before this.
Yeah.
I know
Everywhere
what it can
I've
be
been, like has
You're
had,
on
like
the
one or
trailing
two,
edge.
but I'm on like right on the cusp of it ending. So you see just the end, and then you cross over, and you're like, yo.
You're following the
depressing.
end of white sharks all along the coast.
Yeah.
Which is like has been my worst fear since I was 6, like counting on my hands. Was I born too late? Like here's everything dying. Here's how many years till I'm from high school and then college. Like I don't know when you get to start doing the shark stuff.
Yeah.
And then you
It's
start
crazy
getting
to
into
think
it and
about.
like it's. I remember when I wanted to go to Seal Island for the first time ever after I saw Air Jaws. I was like, wow, that's so cool. It wasn't always that way. Climate change is a thing. It probably won't always be this way. This is my number one place in the world I have to get to before it's gone. And
Yeah.
thankfully we did. Never in a million years would think I would literally be on the ground as it ended.
Yeah, and it's such a tremendous weight to hold. So we're literally driving back from Cape Town in a shuttle full of interns when we get the news, and they all find out with us.
Yeah.
And it was like
Brutal.
The air sucked right out of that combi, and we were all just sat there like,
We just deflated like balloons.
yeah.
Again.
That
And
was heavy. So
and
I
it-
wasn't excited to come back.
No, well, I know. When I got that news, I was like, well, luckily we swam with the humpback whale the next day, so that kind of like boosted my mood a little, but I
We
still
had
cool
to
the next
drive
day.
in the rain, yes, the next day. And also, like, then the shark literally washed up the next day and
Yeah.
having to coordinate from afar was just the worst.
A nightmare.
And then you were the head or lead,
Co-lead.
co-lead with Ralph from
Ralph
Marine
Watson,
Dynamics on the necropsy.
Yeah,
for
he'd
the
been
white
there
shark.
for a lot of the other ones. And then Alison Towner couldn't come down this time. And then Enrico was like, you think you can do it? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
That's amazing.
What am I do? Like, what do I do?
So
Because
it's
I never
yeah.
even did any shark dissections in college. I think there was like one in an ichthyology class studying abroad in Australia. But when you go to a landlocked school for a BA, liberal arts, you don't really do much
No.
hands-on.
But Ralph's done it before, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
he'd done
Yes.
like bunches.
Yeah.
So I felt way comfortable.
Comfortable with him there and
Yeah, but it was very
But
like
what's
tag
the,
team.
What's the process? Tell
You follow like a boatload of measurements, just of all the different things that you
It was
could
like 2.5
possibly get.
hours of measurements from a
Literally.
standby.
Yeah.
But we did it apparently very quickly, which was cool. But it helps when you've had somebody who's already gotten their
done
reps in. And yeah, we just flew through the measurements, and then it kind of just depends on if there's any. I think people who are permitted with research projects for samples that they want. So Ralph had to collect some samples before anybody even touched it. Took external samples because I think that was going to go also for like orca external bite analysis stuff.
Oh,
You don't know
DNA.
anything about the microbiome of anything, which is such a cool realm to dive into, I think. So hats off to the people who've done that because that's complicated. So he just took those samples, and then a couple of us took muscle samples. There's some vertebra samples. The jaw had to go to the government so it doesn't end up like on the market. That's why you have to take it out. Actually, it's.
I didn't know that until that day,
Yeah.
and then watching you do that, I was like, first of all, it's so tough.
Wait, so what? You took the jaw out?
We cut
They
the jaws
cut
out.
You
the
cut the
jaw.
jaw.
They made incisions like a V under. But watching Lacey do it, first of all, it's like, this sounds so morbid to say, a work of art when she had those knives in her hands, because the
like
skin
Dexter.
is so. It is
They're
like
very
Dexter.
sharp. Shout out to the interns that kept sharpening them.
Yeah, the
Okay.
knives needed to be sharpened consistently because
yeah,
the
that skin
is
blunts
so
the knives,
tough. But she did it so like smoothly and quickly with Ralph, and that was the moment I found out why they were cutting the jaws off, and it's to stop it from going to the market. That blows my mind.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That blows my mind that that's a thing. Like,
Well,
I
yeah.
know it's a thing,
Yeah.
but to put it into context with that real life scenario, watching one of your really close friends hack off the jaws of a great white shark that you love.
Yeah.
There was so many mixed emotions, but you did such a great job.
Thanks, man.
Good job.
And Loki was way easier to cut out than I thought. Like I was anteing up for like cutting through whale blubber necropsy vibes. Nope.
No.
Way less resistance. I was
Yeah.
like Loki, like, oh my god, please let me make this look easy.
Well,
I was having a lot of imposter syndrome throughout the whole thing, but also getting lost in how cool the science was. I was like,
It's hard when you're like
It's amazing.
following in the steps of people you've admired, or that is a lot of pressure. Like I couldn't imagine, like the videos I've seen of any woman doing it as Allison Towner, and those are like extremely big footsteps to
big
follow
footsteps.
in.
And she doesn't know this, but like when I was a fresh little greenie on Rawberg, like one of my first ever field projects turns into my thesis. But Airjaws is there, and I was sitting at the Gap with Monique Fallows and Allison Towner and watching. We did this a couple times, but I think this was the same day that we had like 2.5 hours of these two white sharks just like crisscrossing almost like this chess match with some young of the year seals that eventually culminated into one successful kill that was on Shark Week, which was so cool. But we had such a great conversation. It was like instrumental as me like finally entering into like shark research field, having women talk about like what it was like, and her sharing a story of it being difficult to get published as a woman and sharing experiences where that's very obviously at play.
Yeah.
Like similar stuff, similar journals, male versus female not getting published, like stuff like that. And it was instrumental for me going into the field thereafter. So I've always looked up to her from that perspective, but then just working in the field and like, after having the reins kind of handed over, you're like, oh shit.
and now people are looking up to you.
So many people, all the interns were fangirling, everything over
was
Lacey.
really
It was really cute.
Nat Geo star.
It was, like,
I know.
Head field specialist, yeah. So, yeah, no, but you don't. That's the thing. You don't know whoever you're talking to now could be there. That could be the little spark that gets them going. So 10 years time or whatever, there'll be
so
another
cool.
a Lacey prodigy coming through.
Oh my god. Yeah, my little shark army grows.
So apart from that, I mean, you were both there. You were watching as well. But like the whole experience of like
I gotta
literally
give a mad
cutting
shout out for Val being
2 point.
there too.
How long was it? 2 point.
3.5.
Was it 3.5?
I
forgot
rechecked
what I said.
I completely forgot to and went and looked at the report. I think it was 3.5.
3.5.
That's amazing.
Like great white shark, you're cutting it open
Because of an orca.
because of an orca. Liver's gone, I assume.
Oh yeah.
That
oh,
shark
yeah.
looked rough.
Yeah, but it was like a really huge gash.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh, so it was
really
ripped to
big
pieces.
rippage.
Like, because
Yeah.
usually they're quite small.
I mean, they're still big.
The ones
but that
I've
was
seen
just-
were smaller,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
this
still a
one
big
looked.
gash, but bigger.
Bigger than
Yeah.
usual.
I don't know the measurements of the other
No.
ones off the top of my head. But
Starboard stuff this one up.
I was very much like sometimes zoning into listening to what was going on, but most of the time like
Yeah.
there were so many people that were like, you're here. Just had no
So
idea.
many people were there.
No
it was
idea.
like the last one.
Yeah.
But I
think,
heard Val. I would get like caught. My attention would be caught by you chatting your science communication of the whole experience with respect for the animal, like clearly, succinctly explaining the process for all different types of audiences, while also capturing the significance of the science. aces.
Thank
That
you.
Was this on your videos?
Such a good, the live that she was running through was so
the
good.
TikTok live that I got banned for 24 hours from the GoDive account.
No, but she had the best, like, also warnings of, like, here's, like, this is coming, but here's why this is happening. Like,
Yeah.
some of the best explanations for, I don't know why you got banned. It was sensational.
Well,
I think it's like an algorithm thing, isn't it?
well, and
And then
she
you have
was
to
literally
appeal.
hacking the jaws out at the moment that I got banned, and I'm just like, not hacking is the wrong term. Like, it's a scientific dissection.
Yeah.
Let's not take away from like the significance.
Yeah.
But from that perspective, I was just like, guessy.
We had
And it was brutal, you guys. Like when the seal came out of the stomach, I started gagging. And I was like, "Whoa, I have to go." Like I had to.
What, a
remove
whole seal
myself.
just came out?
There was a whole, it was mostly digested. That was some goop.
Oh, that must have been
You-
putrid.
I don't
It
think.
was. I'm like
The whole
tearing
skull,
up right
though,
now.
and then I felt so bad. Thank God there were tall walls on the bucket because I'm pulling it up and picking it
God.
up for people to see it, and it slipped and dropped.
Then it liquefied.
Into goop.
I don't.
Nico, I hope you're not watching right now.
No, man. Shame. I had the biggest dry heave though. Like I love dissections, I really do. But like getting up and in there, and then it just hits you there. Not here, not
can't.
here, not
I
here.
knew. I understood very early on that the whole like getting elbow deep in fish guts and thing. Not for me. Not for me.
No.
No,
Yeah,
that
that was-
smell and
that was so
don't get me
cool.
wrong. Some people,
But getting
it's
that
for some people. Fair play to them. You need some strong cologne.
If it was
but
less
not for me.
digested.
Yeah.
Less digested, just less stuff in there. But the whole skeleton was cool. We had the spine, you had the skull, and then there was actually fishing line that was wrapped around it.
That's insane.
So whether or not the seal was like alive and wrapped in fishing line, and that's how the shark hopefully got it. Maybe the fishing line was not impactful, or maybe it had killed the seal and the shark scavenged it. Who knows? But it was there.
Yeah.
It was very
That was
much like
sobering.
when Gibbs was here, though, where it almost felt like a reunion. It's like a funeral almost.
Yeah.
Everybody gets together for.
Everyone's just standing around this carcass.
Yeah, but it's also still wonderful to see the years of friendships built and connections and information shared and experiences shared.
And the
it's
progress in people's lives as well, because everyone comes back and they've all.
It was super
Yeah.
cool to see
Perspective.
Ralph, like,
Yeah.
in it, he is just grown into, like, even more, I don't know,
Yeah.
and he's such a cool, like,
Yeah, he's
the
a-
progress from when I met him as an oceans research intern and he was one of my field specialists or people working on their project to now.
Yeah.
And to see him with his own volunteers come down from...
He's definitely come a long way since Ocean's Age, or since Mossel Bay.
Yeah.
He's just
and
progressed. But yeah, no.
it's beautiful to
awesome
see
here.
those transitions.
I'll have to get him on the podcast one day, actually. I did
Definitely.
mention. Yeah, no, he's a super
I had a
cool.
great time working with him. Hey,
Super
it was
cool.
like it really was. You never know what you're gonna do for when you're on like working with somebody brand new and you're co-leading.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
don't. And I don't know this person from a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And it was really.
Have you never met him
seamless.
before?
No.
Really?
Yeah, that was part of the anticipation. But I told her, I said, like, no.
Where were you
just-
when you came last time? Because he did come to the house that one time.
I might not have been around though.
No, but
No, you were. It was.
Was I not?
that was still when I had Georgia and Kelly as roommates, though, I think.
Maybe.
We weren't really.
It was
solid
during
friends.
a Shark Week shoot. Cause,
Was that
Yeah.
last May? Because I wasn't here for that.
Yeah.
I came right after it.
so you probably just after.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, or before we'd like properly started hanging out
yeah.
yet, because at the beginning, it just intern season consumes.
Yeah, straight away you were thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, boy. It's a good thing I grew up swimming.
Yeah.
No, but it was cool. I like the perspective of it being a reunion too, because you're sharing this like massive. It's like a little bit like Misery Loves Company, trauma bonding, but this massive event, but also it is a reunion.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
weird family reunion.
Yeah, all these people from the shark world, and the shark world
Everybody's there.
like
Because they're interested.
microscopically small when you actually think
Super
about
small.
it. You look from the outside and you see Shark Week and you see like Nat Geo and you think, oh, there's all these people work with sharks. Nah, there's not.
A handful of people.
There's probably you could fill a room with it and that's about it.
I
And
was
then-
shocked at how quickly it was, like how easy it was and quick to get close to those people that you think like when
Yeah.
you enter a field are like the big wigs and they're far away.
Yeah,
And
No.
this world is so small, you're like, oh. No,
It's
they're not.
very small. Very small.
no, it's microscopically small, the shark world, isn't it? You can-
Have you seen any of the documentaries this season on Shark Fest or Shark?
No, only
Lacey's.
Which I'm so proud to
Debut.
share screen time with this
I
legend
haven't
right
actually
here.
seen
I
the rest,
know.
but yeah, you were on it as well.
Yeah.
You got a few little minutes of
Yeah.
showcase.
It was such a surprise. We were sitting there watching Lacey cheering her on, and I was like, wait a minute, this day looks very familiar.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, poop.
There's me.
We were like,
Oh, shit. It was like 2 seconds, but it was
oh, it
cool
was
to do.
so fun to have my friends on that because you were
Yeah.
on there and also Emo was on there.
Oh, he was as well. He was in the
Yeah,
background.
and
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's one section where I can see that he's just genuinely laughing his face off
And
like,
Enrico.
while filming. Yo, because when you have to film the like super excited bits, Enrico's good at that. I'm not. They're like, okay, like, can you do it again? I was like, this is what you're gonna get. And there's a reason you didn't see me doing any of this. But it's so funny on the other side of things, especially when you have to do it multiple times.
Yeah.
And you're sharing real science, and they portrayed it in a light that
Yeah.
that's the evolution of the shows that I've seen from a couple years ago even to now are so much more
They are.
informational.
They are getting.
There
They
is
do
more
seem to be getting a
information.
lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it. They're highlighting other questions and real scientists that are on the field. And so it was really awesome to see you and Enrico and Neil's guest appearance, like showcasing what you guys are learning, and being hands-on with those projects.
I love that you were hands on too, because it's like
That was so random.
But you're so instrumental, at least in this.
And it shows you
world,
how
and
long the
hands-on.
project's been going on, because
Yeah.
the footage with me was 2 years prior, a year prior, something like that. So ages ago, that it shows that they've been like trying to find this information out. And I thought that was really interesting. And we watched another show last night, and it was
Oh, it was Alien Sharks.
Alien Sharks, and the PJ Shark made a huge,
I've heard about this. I haven't
And
seen
the
it yet.
Puffs.
and our puff, the happy
I
eyes.
have feelings.
Your feelings, stirrings, mutterings.
There was some excellent science communication.
Yes.
Okay.
There was some relaying of information that isn't normally talked about that was done. One, the information was dope to be included, highlighting lots of other species that need to be included.
This is on Alien Shark.
This is on
That-
Alien Sharks.
okay.
The way-
Really, really good.
The way that some of this information was relayed was also
Really good.
very well done.
I feel like there's a big book coming.
Remember that everything is shot,
Everything is shot,
but
specifically.
you don't know the frame of time for
No.
each.
But
still.
now that I've been on the other side of a filming of an episode, I have a little
That's true.
better of a picture than I did before, and paying attention to the like lighting and the time of day that some of the clips and how the story was spliced together. I'm like, okay. Personally, I have a personally very conservative stance on handling animals, especially sharks.
Yeah, there was a lot of
You
handling.
don't need to touch it unless absolutely necessary. You don't need to touch wildlife. It's unnecessary. Going back to the microbiome, we don't know what the flippity flop we're giving them or they're giving us. We know nothing about this. We know nothing. Jon Snow. So why are we just like? And we also know that like sharks, there are species that respond really poorly to handling and capture stress. So the thing that's going to stress out and be damaging for not just a shark, but any marine animal when you're handling it, however necessary, because yeah, we do need to do that to get information to help them. Like the longer it's out of the water is going to be one of the most detrimental things. It will compound every other stressor. So why are we going to just like assume that we can handle critically endangered species about which we know very little, and that's the purpose of why we're talking about them and like picking them up and talking while holding them? I personally do not like holding an animal and talking about its information out of the water. I can't stand it. I don't care what the animal is. Put it in and talk about it. Let it do its thing if you're going to talk about it, but you don't need to be, if it's a fish, if it's a lizard, if it's a, well, that's on land, but like water lizard. If it's a starfish, if it's a shark, personally,
Who was it made by?
I don't know.
No, but was it a Nat Geo? Was it a Discovery?
I think it was
a-
Discovery. I don't know,
Discovery?
but it's not unique to this episode.
No,
It
no,
happened
no,
in this
no.
episode, but it's
I
not
mean,
unique to
you
this. It's
watch-
not unique to this. It's not unique. Like it's not like
If you watch any
some
fishing-
scientists do that. You know, there's a whole level of proper handling techniques, and you don't know what you don't know. As soon as you know better, if you improve, that's fine.
Yeah.
But some people just don't know.
I think some maybe the part that bothers you the most is well within the animal welfare, but then outsiders not associated with like any projects or research or just like people
You might
messing
think that's
around
an okay
think
way to
it's
handle an
okay.
animal.
Yeah.
It's just not.
So I think it just, but I think they did it well,
But they did do it well.
and it's just like any other thing where they're shocasing an animal,
And it
they're
could have
showing
been
you the different
quick
angles.
out and in.
Yeah, but again, the rate of time, you don't know how many times they stopped to dunk.
Could
or
have been
make
different
sure that-
animals.
Yeah,
How many times did they do it? Like,
Yeah.
there's a huge amount of. I could definitely be wrong about my interpretation or the extreme.
But I think you
interpretation
are
of
just
it.
worried about how other people are now going to handle animals when they see them, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's the main thing. Is like you do such a good job with relaying so much information, but those tiny little nitty gritty things do matter amongst the scientific community. They matter amongst the ecotourism community. They matter amongst people. People do pay attention to that outside of TV, and they will associate those handling techniques because, oh, this is a reputable person, that's why they're there, so I'm going to implicitly trust what they're doing. And I've definitely not been perfect. None of us are. Sometimes the situation where the animal's moving is like, it's gonna look ugly, and there's definitely gonna have been a better way to handle an animal. It would have been less stressful, but we've all been there. Anybody who's handled wildlife has been there. There's only so much that you can control. But that nuance and that context is never really talked about or relayed or explained.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. That's something that at least I was trained this way, and make a point of explaining the why behind or decompressing a high intensity wildlife situation, however good or badly it might have gone, because it's a really important learning moment.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And I don't think that's portrayed in TV well. And I think
Yeah.
it's so important.
I think that I agree with you. I do think there's different thresholds for different groups of people, and that's the bit that I mean. Like a lot of I think I talked about with John last week. But a lot of people don't like what Ocean Ramsey did. A lot of people don't like
There was a
pulling
huge-
fish out. Like you get lots of fishermen, and
There's
then
some
there's
animals
people
you
don't
can
like
do it,
cage
that's
diving.
fine. Yeah.
So like
There's
it's
so many
the,
people who
the
don't like cage
threshold.
diving.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the importance of communicating, doing it the best possible way that you know is 100%, and that's something that should definitely be communicated.
And I think that's what also makes sharks incredibly hard to speak about and like help give them a rebrand, as Hannah will say.
Yeah.
Is like they are cute, but we have to take them out of their environment to show you
Yeah.
a lot of the time what they look like, especially on the boat with like it was a black light that they were showing you on the puff adder
Yeah.
to show you how it refracts the light.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
But that was really interesting. But they couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And they had to set up a control.
Yeah.
Well, and I like
that's-
the word about threshold too. Of like,
That's a
maybe
good point.
that's my threshold is I'd rather not if I don't
Yeah.
need to. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean some animals can't handle it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I also know people who don't like the science community doing it,
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
that's their threshold, and it's kind of one of those like you have to you draw your line in the sand and you sort of morally and ethically reason it in your own mind, and but that's no justification for like torturing animals or anything.
No,
It's
but the
just-
pressure is important. The differing perspective, I think, is actually important because it helps us hold ourselves to a better standard.
Yeah.
at
You
the
always
end of
want to
the day for the
improve.
wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that within our own community and on the various like roads off of our community, science, communication, conservation, media, those kinds of things, there's so much politics that it was Chris Fallows and Andy once that said to me, if everybody could just work together, drop the egos, drop
sorry.
the
If everybody could just work together, is what? This is like what?
teamwork makes the
Go on, finish it off. Someone else say you up, knock them down.
So they said everybody should be working with everybody because the whole point of why we care in the first place is that these animals are becoming less and less and less,
Yeah.
and they will have disastrous impacts on our environments. So really, it's just
Remembering why we're there in the first place.
remembering exactly why that documentary was shot was to instill the information or the passion or
Yeah.
show you how cute different diverse sharks are.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps
So
saying they're
cute.
so sick of seeing great white sharks and bulls and repeat offenders on Shark Week and Shark Fest. I still love them, but I agree. You want to see the diversity.
Yeah, you do.
Give me a leopard
they
cat
definitely-
shark.
That's it. But that's the thing as well. It is one of those that I mean, I kind of, from just the social media stuff, like those ones do get the attention, and those ones get hold the attention better. So I understand why they do it, but it is about making, like as a content creator, or if you're making a documentary, it's about making those moments interesting for the smaller sharks and giving them their credit and their due in the right possible way, so people are interested in them. And if they're not holding people's attention, then you're doing your job wrong.
That's exactly it. I'm not going to it's not somebody else who spent their life formulating a different area of expertise with different experiences. I'm not going to expect them to understand why this animal is cool to me. That's my job to tell you why it's cool and to give you perspective about why it's important. Totally giving them peer.
That's it. Yeah.
And you?
I was just...
Are you wrapping up?
No.
Okay, good. I thought we talked to zero. No, but I want to know...
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit, but your sardine run missions, I know you've talked in other episodes about it, but I want to hear from you how that whale experience was, where you were right next to it.
Spill the beans.
It was a bit of it was one of those. We were just sort of busy in the water, just watching dolphins and trying to find a bait ball and like a few sardines and whatnot. And then, it just came up and started playing with us. Like,
did you see it coming?
Yeah, we saw it from a distance, like blow a couple times, and then everyone's just like, oh, there's a whale here, and then just cruised up to us and then played with us for about 40 minutes.
Didn't
leave,
insane.
and it was just spinning underwater,
just
dancing around us,
by you guys,
literally inches away from us, like within. There was at one point it came straight towards us. I put my hand out to like if this like runs into me, I know it's going slowly, but they're big and it's still hard. It's gonna.
That's so cool.
I'm gonna end up with bruises.
And it purposefully stayed with you. You weren't...
stayed with us. Just wanted to play. As soon as we got back on the boat as well, after like 40 minutes, everyone was a bit like hopeful about like being in the water. Like, I mean, we were the humpback whale, but like 40 minutes in the water, still 40 minutes in the water. So everyone started getting back on the boat. And then it kind of just like came up, popped its head up again, and was like,
"You guys done?"
What? So I was like, "Oh well."
Did you get back in?
I was like, "I've been in for 40 minutes. It's not going to do. I may as well."
training for this.
How often do you get to swim with a humpback?
In the Indian Ocean.
In the Indian Ocean, it just doesn't happen.
That's amazing.
We got some insane like footage, and but it was crazy how big it was and how close it got. And knew exactly where we were in the water. It didn't.
So cool.
Yeah.
We forget these are water animals. They absolutely have way better spatial control in the water than we do.
Yeah.
And it was
we're goofy.
But
we protect that level of like.
They're so big.
I saw that,
it was a small one. It was probably. I'd say it was probably about
as big as a whale.
10 meters. Just about as big as a whale. Just about as big as a whale.
Just kind of.
Small whale.
10 meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a small one.
Wow.
I mean, I think they get.
I'm a shark person.
Do they get?
Same.
I think they get like 12 to 16. Don't they?
Something like that.
But it was a little smaller, but it was bloody huge.
You looked like an ant next to it.
I was tiny. And then when its tail like comes around and you're like, but then it was but it was fine. It knew exactly where we were. It was spinning, like doing donuts around the boat, coming up, blowing, coming under, checking you out,
just staying with you.
Did you feel like calm or like an elevated nervous system? Like where was your?
When I first got in, I was a little nervous just because it was so big, and it was the closest I've ever been to a whale. But then as soon as like it had done a few passes, I was like, oh, it's playing with us. It's more interested in us than we're interested in it, but like it's curious, like it just wants to dance and play and spin around and
That's
so
fun.
beautiful.
Please tell me somebody did a little pirouette underwater with a whale.
I mean, that's a wasted opportunity.
Golden opportunity.
Do you know what?
Maybe your only chance in your whole life.
That was the one thing I kept trying to do. I wanted to dive down and go like underwater with it. But I was like, that was the only time I was a little nervous that maybe its pectoral fin would just come down and push me further down. I'd be like stuck under a whale. I'd be like, this is the wrong side of a whale. Yeah. so I kept going down a bit and then just being like, I'm going to just stay here.
That's so cool.
But no, it was beautiful and it was such cool interaction. But it was just so active as well. It wasn't like just sitting in one place and chilling. It
Hanging out
was
with you.
moving, spinning, rolling, eye to eye. Like it literally came and was like just looking at you. It was like peering
eye
into your
contact
soul.
with a whale or a shark, just a big animal.
I love that.
No, it was pretty insane.
I'm so jealous.
But you'll have to
but
do
you earned
sardine
that.
run next
Yeah.
next year, 2024.
Seriously. You guys,
Gotta
you
be
have
done.
to do a sardine run.
Do a sardine.
You're gonna have to do it. Get a boat.
I'm gonna fill a boat.
Fill a boat.
If you want to do sardine run with me,
You should.
Say less.
let us know.
Yeah.
I can't promise I won't push anybody in the water.
I can't promise I won't willingly leap.
That's fair.
Well, that's the aim.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have something in the water worth getting in for.
No. But yeah, your sardine run was epic, and the whale interaction was definitely one of the highlights.
I'm
I mean,
so
there's
proud of
some
Go Dive and you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it went well, but everyone, I think,
you
because
smashed
you
it.
had the intern season this year, and you had everything going, and it's one of those years where everything's been pulled together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Team, like you say, teamwork makes a dream work. There you go. I'll let you
Say
have it.
none of
I'll
that
let you have it.
No,
no,
intern season.
You had a hectic season. Oh well, hectic June.
It was a really busy.
Busy.
June. Is this July? The end of July.
This is the end
Oh,
of July.
boy.
Yeah.
Busy July as well, but
Busy.
busy
just
June.
busy in
Yeah.
a different way. But June was awesome. Energy was there. But you realize it's a whirlwind. It's
But
like a
also
tornado.
It is a tornado, an all-consuming tornado. But the weather did not play ball.
No, we had a
No?
terrible week in June.
That was like-
there was just a lot of bad weather. In
Yeah.
June.
Justin was like it's his worst season. It was
Worst
like the
June.
fewest amount of times we were able to get to the water in his entire time at Oceans.
Jesus.
And
Yeah.
everybody I've talked to in Mossel Bay was like,
Said
that was
the weather's horrific.
uncharacteristically bad and wet.
Glad I missed that
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, you missed nothing on that front.
But the sharks were cooking though, supposedly.
They were cooking. They were, yeah.
Oh, they were. I don't know. Oh, you didn't get out to sea, did you
I
not?
didn't get to see any in June.
Oh,
So they
no.
were cooking for me.
But
no.
Sarah finally saw a great
So-
white shark.
Yes,
Oh, that's good.
They did.
Yeah,
But it was the
after.
first week. Most
Yeah.
of June they were not there. It's the first week
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah. Well,
Or
it's
second week.
20
It was the second week.
Second.
Was it 18th? It was the 18th, wasn't it? That
18th,
August
yeah.
came through.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Gnarly.
No. But congratulations, guys, on the necropsy and
Thank you.
yeah,
And he was on the
and-
sardine run.
and the
Yeah.
doco as well, documentary. You both starred in.
Now you got a high five.
There you
My
go.
hands are in my pockets because I'm an ice cube.
Are you cold?
I'm so cold.
Oh, well. We'll wrap it up there, but I want to say thank you very much for coming on, and it's always fun to have you guys, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
There you go.
Bye, Felicia.